US. He is a healthcare hero licensed in 34 states, private plan specialist, speaker, and advocate. No other than me, Sherri Matheney.
Hi.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Sherri. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sherri Matheney, born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. I've been doing health insurance for 13 years, licensed in 34 states. I primarily help small business owners and self employed with insurance.
Miss Sherry Matheny, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And let's talk about being resilient, values, and nonsense approach to empowering everyday people. Which of your books, or two to three books, most fundamentally shape your grit first mindset? And how did you reframe your relationship with struggle?
Yeah, so the very first book I read was The Four Agreements. Which was great. It's like simple, it's an easy read, but the words hit, don't take anything personally, be impeccable with your word. Um, don't make assumptions and do your best. When I was first starting in the business, those words were really important to me. And as I've grown, I've certainly read other books, but that one was the one of the better ones for me.
Was there a book that exposed the flaws in traditional success advice, helping you craft your expertise?
hmm Yeah. So the the book I believe it's the 12 laws of communication is a really good one, just learning how to communicate. I'm sorry, the 16 undeniable laws of communication is really good because it taught me how to communicate with my peers and my clients in a better way, and it really shaped the way that I do my business.
What's one book that was not about business or finance, but radically influenced how you approach income protection?
Ooh, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Hmm.
that was a really good one. That really helped me. I know they're all kind of business though. That's just where
Yes.
my mind goes. So most of the books I read are self-help, let them, things like that, that help me.
Books that forge grit about your personality. Which book taught you the most about transforming failure into fuel, and how do you apply that to clients facing health career crisis?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, what's a good one? Probably Unfuck Yourself. Excuse my language. That's what the book's called. um,
Yes.
okay.
True.
That one's good because in my job it's very mental, and sometimes you get an angry person just with any um, career, right? But that one really helped me just push forward and not get stuck in that mental crappy part of it, and just keep pushing forward because I know not every person I talk to is gonna love me. Most should, right? But
Yes,
not everyone does.
definitely.
Mhm.
How did a specific book move you beyond motivational grit to actionable system for overcoming adversity?
Oh, which book?
Yes. So
Probably.
how do
Oh, go ahead.
specific book move you beyond motivational grit?
The
How that
book.
book, yes, the book
Okay.
itself.
I would say the 16 undeniable laws of communication. It helped me a lot. Um, it's about more than communication on my side, but more taking in how other people communicate with me and learning how to interact that way with people. I would say that one.
Did any biography or memoir reveal how relentless perseverance triumphs innate talent?
No, there's really none that I can think of. I really read a lot of self-help books
Mm,
and things like that.
okay. So, what book crystallized your non-negotiable in the industry often criticized for complexity?
Mm. These are tough questions, to be honest. I I don't know how to answer that.
But anyway, so how did reading a challenge, a profit all cost model, and shape your mission and serve overlook audiences like your business itself?
That one was probably Rich Dad Poor Dad. My business, it's really transformed over the years. And, when I started thinking in a different mindset, right? And thinking of more of a rich mindset and really helping people, that's really transformed me.
Yes. So can you share experience, Miss Sherry, about books that influence you to make your business more growthful?
Um, that's a tough one. I would say the book I wrote myself, I actually am an author in a book. It's called The Girl Boss Effect. And the networking that we did, and that's what that book's about. And that really helped me grow as a business because I learned different aspects of my business, everything from marketing to logos and taking photos and being more professional. So I would say that one.
Okay. So tell us, what are your struggles in writing that book?
Sometimes I struggle writing anything because what's in my head, I have a hard time getting out on paper. Um, it was a little tough because I have so much, right? And I could only write so many words on it. I didn't have too many struggles, but writing in general is tough.
Totally. Very tough, most especially if you are not outlining your books.
Mhm.
Which title expose pervasive lies about wealth or wellness, fueling your commitment or truth telling about your business?
Ooh, um, that's tough. I'm not sure. Um, I ugh, I'm honestly not sure.
So tell me, Miss Sherry, about your business. Tell me, what are the things you like doing as an insurance agent?
That's a great question. So I always love helping. So my motto is if I can't leave you better than I found you, I don't try. So I always try to leave the conversation with whoever I'm talking to is more educated, whether I help them or not. They know a little bit more about insurance. And I always try to do the right thing all the time, whether it makes me money or not. And just living by that has really helped me a lot in my business. And it honestly helped my business flourish a lot because, you hear horror stories of other agents and they just push things on people. And I'm not like that at all. I'm completely opposite of that. So,
So, what is the healthcare hero license all about?
I've been in the business for 13 years. There's probably not a question I can't answer when it comes to insurance. And like I said before, I'm always about helping people regardless. And my services are always free. So I'll help anyone, whether you make 10K a year or you make 500K a year. Doesn't matter to me. There's help for everybody.
For sure. So, what are the most scenario that your clients are not having to avail or having avail an insurance?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
What are the case studies or scenarios that some of your clients cannot afford to have an insurance?
There are some scenarios on income based plans where you make too much to qualify for Medicaid, right? But you make too little to qualify for Obamacare, and those people fall into this little gray area. That's a client that I couldn't help,
Hmm.
because they can't afford full price and they make too much money to get the free stuff. So, that's a situation. That's probably the only time I cannot help somebody is if you fall in this little tiny little gray area.
Miss Sherry, as a healthcare hero license and private plan specialist, speaker, and advocate, what are your short term and long term goals?
So my short-term goals is to just keep getting my name out there as much as possible. I guess that's a short and a long-term goal. And long-term, I'd really like to keep growing, build my team again, and be successful.
Be successful indeed, and good luck to your goals, and hoping for more and more success. And as a healthcare hero, licensed private plan specialist, and speaker and advocate, what are your short term? No, what are your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
You know, Take your time, learn your craft, be really good at your craft. Everything is based on consistency. As long as you're consistent and you do good by people, um, you're going to grow naturally and people are going to refer you, and it's going to help. So my advice is always do the right thing, no matter what.
No matter what, please. So, individual healthcare coverage does not have to cost a fortune. Can you expound this phrase?
Yeah, so there's several plans. There's plans that are based on income. There's a lot of my clients that get free plans or super low cost plans under $100. If you're in the higher income tax bracket, you don't qualify for any income discounts. There are great private plans out there. If you're relatively healthy as well, you can get on a private plan that are awesome. I'm on one myself. Um, yeah. So there's different ways, and I always look at creative ways to help people save money. So sometimes I run into situations where maybe someone's offered work coverage, but it's really expensive for the family. So I'll take the family separate, or, I'll find a creative way to save you money.
What
Mhm.
was the most effective first step when you claim or wrongfully denied about insurance?
When a claim was denied,
Yes.
is it? Well, I always ask for all of the documents that the client was sent, and then I call the insurance company and I look into it and see why. Most of the time, if a claim's denied, it's usually something simple, like maybe the doctor's office didn't run the insurance correctly, or it was something that on private planes, they don't cover certain things and maybe they weren't informed of that, right? So sometimes it could be just a non covered item or it could be just a simple mistake on somebody's end. But I do my best to find out the problem and solve it if I can.
Miss Sherry, what a common policy clause do insurers hope consumers never read?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What common policy clause do insurers hope consumers never read?
The non covered items. And most people don't read that, and every policy has a list, of non-covered items, and I don't think anyone does read it.
So why do rates silently rise the renewal even without claims? How we can you fight this one?
That's a tough fight, right? On private plans, the rates actually don't raise that much. On marketplace, they do because if I have stage 5 cancer, they have to accept me and pay my $5 million claim, right? Because most of the healthy people aren't getting insured. Most of the people who are a little bit unhealthy are the ones that are getting insured. So the insurance companies are paying out claims, claims, claims 20, constantly. So naturally, they're going to keep raising the prices, right?
Mm,
Mhm.
yes, for sure. What asset do 60% of homeowners undervalue in policies? Not your, not something that your business already experienced.
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm not sure how to answer that. A tough asset. I'm not
Mm.
sure.
So, what policy gap destroys small businesses after a disaster or whatever events that
Mm.
occurring, like typhoon or floods, that your customer or clients uh, giving to?
Well, with health insurance, there's not too many does that, things like that affect health insurance necessarily. Um, I did see during COVID time a huge surge in people actually seeing a need for health insurance.
Yes.
So I was actually 10 times busier during that time just because everyone was like, crap, I need it. What if something happens?
Definitely. So, why the most general liability policies exclude ransomware attacks?
Exclude what?
Exclude ransomware.
I'm not sure.
So let's say for those people out there or your clients having a policies and then they want to take it back.
Oh, they want to
What
cancel?
yes, what are the process?
They send me an email. It depends
Then
on the company, really. Most of the time, if somebody needs to cancel something, they just call, text me, or email me. Emailing is best because then I can just forward it to the whatever company it is. On private insurance, I have a lot more say and I can do more. So all they do is send me an email. On marketplace, most of the time they have to call the marketplace to cancel. Sometimes I do it, but there's so many errors on the marketplace side that it's kind of just depends, but usually it's an easy process, like a quick phone call.
hmm, easy as 1, 2, 3 people. If you want to cancel insurance, just email it and done or call. How do insurers offshore risks avoid payouts?
How do insurers avoid payouts? Like
Y-
spending a lot of money.
Yes.
Knowing how their policy works is one thing. Staying in network is another because you get a lot of benefits just for being in network. You get in network discounts on top of what plans pay. Knowing what you're going to do, is it covered or not? It's really good to have a relationship with your agent. I'm someone you can reach me by text message, phone call, anytime. Pretty much, I always respond if I can, and just ask. Don't just assume and then get mad when it's not covered. So ask somebody
Mm-hmm.
first. Mhm.
Yes, indeed. So, can you give us an example of a health insurance for, let's say, 70 years old already?
70.
Yes.
So if you're 70, you're going on Medicare.
And can you
That's
expound
it.
that about
Yeah,
Medicare?
you
How
can
much they
do.
pay?
Well, I don't do Medicare anymore. I do under 65. But people are 65 and up can get on Medicare and they can get a supplement or they can get an advantage plan. I always say Medicare is the good stuff because you don't pay that much and most of your things are covered.
How much they cost, Miss Sherry, if you don't mind?
Anywhere from free to $500 a month.
So, the more older you got, the more expensive you will pay.
Well, it depends on the coverage. Again, I don't do Medicare anymore. I used to maybe 10 years ago. So I couldn't tell you a cost on that. That's not something I really do, but I used to do it. So there's advantage plans that are free, and then there's supplements.
Mm,
And supplements cover all of your out of pocket costs. So the better your supplement, the more you're going to pay. It really doesn't have, it has a little bit to do with age as well. But it's mainly the how good it is.
Okay, Miss Sherry, before we wrap up our
Mhm.
discussion today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 in its fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season.
Wow.
Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Sherry, if you could dismantle one insurance industry practice tomorrow, what would it be?
If I could, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
If you could dismantle one insurance industry practice tomorrow, what would it be?
Mm, that there's there's different plans for everyone. I like to say, a lot of insurance kind of sucks, right? But you have to pick the one that sucks the least for you. So as long as you pick a plan that works for your particular life and situation, then you're probably going to have a better time than if you didn't.
Yes, Miss Sherri Matheney, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you.
knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your business itself?
Yeah, you can go to healthinsurancewithsherry.com, SHERRI. You can email me at healthinsurancewithsherry@gmail.com, or you can call or text me at 417-763-0295.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Sherri Matheney, because if you support her more and more and more coaching or more and more insurance to come. So, Miss Sherri, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.